Welcome back to another episode of the Stack Supplement Podcast. We are running down the top stories and exciting announcements shared on our website from the past 7 days, and it has been a busy week, very much. We've been just slammed non-stop. Obviously, we asked for this ourselves. The more brands we share, the more work it requires, and it does indeed take us quite a bit of effort to keep up with everything and everybody that's going around. And every time we add a new brand, that obviously brings on another company that we need to make sure we keep up with. And to be honest, it's all an effort to make sure you know and you have absolutely every piece of information there is to have when it comes to supplements, energy drinks, and functional food. And one of the more admin-sized announcements we had last week, which hopefully everyone caught, was the Arnold UK. So we had been debating doing this since the Arnold UK returned in 2020. Last year? No, year before. Yes, year before? Yes, 2024. Sorry, I was trying to keep up with the days. Yeah, so 2024, the Arnold Sports Festival UK returned, but it wasn't necessarily a return. It was a very different show in the sense that the organizers from the US, basically instead of, I'm not sure how it went before, whether it was licensed or whatever, but the organizers themselves from the US show decided to take it on themselves. Arnold showed up. It was a grand old time, and it was just damn fun. And I think obviously anyone that went would definitely agree. The idea of doing a stacked pavilion over there definitely cropped up. Very much like how in the US we have our premium section full of brands that we work with and enjoy and partner with on several occasions. The idea of doing that in the UK did come up in that initial return. However, I wanted to see it play out first. I hadn't seen them do a UK one themselves. And I also wanted to gauge interest from brands that I knew over there. So this year it didn't actually come back. There was some scheduling things. Next year, though, it's coming back. And we are going to be doing a stacked pavilion. I say, so long as we get enough brands, and I think we already have, we needed about, I think like a handful, just 5 or 6 would have done it. And we have that many who will be grouping together into our stacked pavilion. It will be a little bit different. As far as I know, we weren't able to do the all-in-one packages that we have in the US. We were able to get like our own area, but it's on the back end, it's a little different. Hopefully it still executes the same on the outside. Just a great area for like-minded people and brands to be. And we'll see how it goes when we get there. But it is in the works. So if you're a UK brand, European brand either as well, because we have some of those coming over. If you are interested in doing the Arnold UK or the UK Arnold, hit me up, reach out on our form, stack.com/Arnold, or any social media or anything really. Comment on here, let us know. I'll share details. It's very much the same if you exhibit anywhere else in the show. The prices are the same. You would just be doing it with me and my friends and a few other cool brands in that specific section next year. Same open for the US, but yeah, either way, reach out if you're interested. We've got a few more details on the website. But jumping straight in to the news, we're going to kick things off with the David saga. And if you've been following, it is an interesting one. Now, I think we mentioned it last week. I'm not sure if we did or not. The David protein bar came to the maker of the David protein bar. Sorry, they launched a wild caught Pacific cod. And I'm not talking like a flavor. I'm not talking cooked. It is just straight raw fish. You can buy it in packs of, I think they're 6 ounces a pack, 4 per box, $55. It's ridiculous. It's very surprising to come from that caliber of brand and how successful they've been. But it is a very interesting one. And initially, while I thought it was a haha gotcha kind of this is why we do it, none of that's showing up yet. And it is very much turning into an even more intriguing situation. So over the last 7 days, if you go to David's website right now, everything is out of stock. The only things that they have available on there are the fish, and the bars are all gone. They're still listed, just out of stock. So the cod is the fish is the only thing you can get on there. And even more interestingly, they announced that they have a distribution or a retail partner. You can now get David's cod in Happier Grocery, which is a supermarket, specialty supermarket, and it's a little bit cheaper in store than it is on the site. I think it's like a few dollars cheaper, but still 50. I think it's 52. Don't know what to say really. It's a very interesting. Again, I thought this was going to be one of those things we would say, haha, this is why we did it. And this kind of just gets further and further away from that, and even has me more captivated, interested as in where is this leading. They've already told us they're not doing more meat. This is just, that's the one-off. I guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, you can check it out on the site. We've got those stories broken down, and it just seems to always be interesting. Results from our Clash of the Cans 2025 powered by Dynamine were shared. Rise, returning champion, well, not returning champion, past champion, Bum Energy, Chris Bumstead's energy drink Bum Energy was the returning champion. They didn't make it through to the grand final. They were in the semi-final though. They got knocked out. It was the Legacy Monster Ultra and Rise Fuel going head to head. It was a bit close in the beginning, and then they kind of separated as Rise, one of their strategies is kind of just push near the end, and they did indeed just extend the lead, and it came out on top, winning their second title. One of the, I think it was Rays is the only other one that is our two-time champion, so Rise Fuel equals them. And this might be a year where they indeed win the Protein Wars and Clash of the Cans. The brand has a killer following. It's a very sports nutrition contest, or our audiences obviously, so it's no surprise that legacy names like Monster, Red Bull, Rockstar just don't make it out alive. And huge congratulations to Rise and Rise Fuel, obviously. And the trophy should be on the way. I think I needed the address. I think I need the address from the team. And we'll be sending out the prizes that we had for voters as well. So the cooler, or the energy drink cooler, the trophy, the custom trophy, will be going out to one particular person, and the cases of energy drinks. So if you were voting and you did take part on social, keep an eye on your DMs, because that is where that is going to come. Next up, we're going to jump on down to, we actually have quite a few other big brand stories to share, but the next one we're going to jump on is Greg Doucette. He came out, if you hadn't followed the story, this was a very interesting one that happened years ago. I don't think we were doing our podcast consistently back then, but Greg Doucette of HTLT, Harder Than Last Time, his brand HTLT, they used to do a testosterone supplement, as well as Gorilla Mind and a few others at that time. And then I think it was Nootropics Depot. I'm pretty sure they tested a whole bunch of them. Actually, sorry, I'm pretty sure they tested Gorilla Mind and HTLT. And they basically showed that they didn't have a whole lot of testosterone in them. And it was the icky steroids in there. I think it was ecdystrone was the main one. But it wasn't because it was, at that time, it was, 500 milligrams of Ajuga. And then you get 50% Turk, which would be working out about, I can't remember now. Was it 50%? No, it wasn't 50%, 10%, sorry, 50, not 2, it's 10, and that would come out at around 50 milligrams. And they tested out at the time, and they were not close. They had other steroids, but not the heights of the testosterone expected. Now, HTLT did the very interesting thing where it dropped the supplement and then came back with kind of vengeance. It showed that it had hunted down a reliable source of testosterone. It found Uzbek Turk or Uzbek Ajuga. It hunted it down. It came back with full force, different supplements. So it was no, this is what this is, and full lab tests, sourcing proof, and everything. And I got to give it. I had to, at the time, I was very impressed that they went that route. After all that they had gone through and all that had happened, instead of just saying, pushing it under the rug, they went out, they found the source, they came back sorry, this is actually full Turk. Previously we didn't, and they've been doing it since. Gorilla Mind has continued selling that original supplement. I'm pretty sure the name changed. I could be wrong. But then recently, last week, Greg Doucette, he tested a batch. I think he just wanted, I don't know what the reason was. Obviously, it's one of the few big brands, or one of the few sizable brands similar to, he's selling Turk, and I guess he just wanted to show that, no, we are the ones doing it this way. And he tested and he showed how much Turk was detected in Gorilla Mind's one. And he shared the labs. And it was interesting because he wasn't necessarily saying that, he was saying that the Ajuga wasn't what was on the label. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember the exact label and how it's laid out, but he was saying that the testosterone is not obviously the realm of, I think it was 10% or whatever, But he was saying that because this amount of testosterone detected, this can't be a juga in the product, which is what's on their label. He wasn't necessarily debating just the testosterone or showing how much testosterone there was. He was going over the fact that if you have a juga, and he had someone else on there as well saying that if you have this much testosterone, it cannot be a juga. If there's a juga in there, it has to have this amount. So it was a very interesting video. I hadn't seen anything come from this since. I haven't seen any response or updates and stuff. But he does break it down pretty well. He's got the labs, he's got the batch numbers, and very interesting, worthwhile watching. And even after all these years, the testosterone saga is still very much going on. Next up, we are going to shuffle on over to, we're going to leave the two big ones to the end. But this was an interesting one. So Pon Pon Snacks is a new functional company launching later this year. I believe it is from the influencer Lauren Pon. I think that's her name. Yes, correct. She's been working on this functional brand for a while. And I got to give it, I like how you can follow her on her socials or check her out, and she goes through kind of how this idea came about. And so if you know what Pockey is, which is you'll see what exactly this is trying to do. Pockey is basically a classic, very thin biscuit, often covered mostly with a flavoring, strawberry, chocolate, whatever you name it. It's very famous in Asia, but you can find that snack all over the place. It's not just limited to those countries over there. And she's looking to replicate that with a better for you approach, higher protein, lower sugar, and it looks as though she's done it. It's an interesting snack mostly because of the textures involved. Now, flavors is one thing. We've seen bars hit chocolate, strawberry, vanilla, whatever you name it. They've done it. What Pon Pon Snacks is doing quite differently is that it's got that crispy biscuit in the center. So it's almost like this is really just the best explanation. It's sort of like a cracker or a cookie, just like a plain stick, miniature breadstick almost, kind of got its own little texture. Actually, miniature breadstick might be the best explanation, best comparison to those who haven't tried Pockey. A little bit thinner, Pockey is, and then it's got this coated on the outside. So she's recreating that with Pon Pon Snacks for as far as I know, this is the first ever high protein Pockey that I've ever heard of or seen. I don't recall any brand doing similar. We follow brands from all over the world, and I don't recall seeing this. I've seen the classic protein breadsticks where you kind of get the miniature breadsticks dip in a sauce or whatever. I've seen that a few times, but not the format and functionality and style of Pockey. And Pon Pon Snacks and Lauren Pon are doing exactly that. In total, each box, I believe, tips the scales at 70 grams, so it's a moderately sized snack, a little bit bigger than a bar. You get 9 grams of protein, just low 7 grams of net carbs, and then just under 200 calories. So obviously there's a bit of fat in there. 9 grams of protein, 7 net carbs doesn't quite bring you to the realm of 200 calories, but yeah, there will be a bit of fat in there as well. We haven't seen the full breakdown of ingredients and numbers, but that kind of gives you the features. Not in the realm of a protein bar, obviously. 9 grams of protein isn't huge. However, you'll be treating this one as a better for you alternative, better than having Pockey, obviously, or just some sort of craving, crushing treat. This will be a nice little way to go. And again, just hats off to her for doing something different. We see obviously different formats in functional foods all the time, especially in Europe. But this is coming out of the US, and again, applause to her for coming up with this concept, seeing what she wanted to do, and then making it happen, rather than a lot of the time you see brands sort of seeing something someone else has done and tweaking it, or a format that someone's attempted and maybe taking an alternative route. She's gone into that mainstream world, grabbed the snack that people know, and is giving it a protein twist. And so I'm be interested to see how that goes. It's launching in 2 flavors, matcha, and I believe the other one is strawberry. So yeah, keep an eye out on our updates for that. The last 2 stories we have from 2 of the biggest brands we ever feature on Stack, and I'm not talking about the likes of Optimum or Muscle Tech or Cellucor. We're talking big brands. So the first one we've got is Pepsi, who surprised a lot of people. We obviously don't share every news story from Pepsi. It's not a health-focused nutrition brand, obviously, but the overarching company recently purchased, I'm trying to remember the name of them, Poppy, the prebiotic better for you soda earlier this year. Was it for $2 billion? Almost $2 billion. Fantastic for them and the whole prebiotic soda movement. And since then, we've seen other brands do this kind of thing, and that bleeds into the stacked realm of news, being that it's a functional beverage, it's got some health benefits, and Poppy, I'm talking obviously. And so Pepsi's come out with a very interesting surprise. They are doing their own prebiotic soda. Obviously very similar, identical approach to what we get with Poppy, but they're doing it for their legacy brand, the Pepsi Cola. They are doing a Pepsi Original prebiotic cola and then a Pepsi Cherry prebiotic cola, or cherry vanilla, sorry. Very similar concept to Poppy. You will get, I think the brief highlights, 3 grams of prebiotic fiber, 5 grams of cane sugar. I don't know if that's like a huge highlight you want to celebrate, at least from our perspective. 30 calories and 12 ounces, so the prebiotic fiber in there for gut health. And then it's obviously kept the nutrition and calories lower than your standard Pepsi and added the functionality of the fiber. So very similar to Poppy. It is, again, it's a prebiotic soda, better for you soda. I was just surprised that they did this. They have Poppy now. They had bought them for close to $2 billion, and 6 months later, not even that, less than that, they're doing their own one. So you have to imagine that it took them a few months before they decided, yeah, we're going to do our own one. It's surprising, but I guess it does make sense putting that better for you approach under the legacy brand name of Pepsi. I guess if they came out with something entirely new, like their own brand of soda with prebiotics, whatever it may be, I guess this is a slightly different approach where you get that they're bringing their brand power to the category scene. I guess maybe they've seen something in the results or whatever, the success of Poppy, and thought, bring their team on, see what they can do. Maybe it's a collab with them behind the scenes. I don't know, but very interesting to see a giant like that do something. But going into our final story is very much the same thing as that, although this isn't a company that's purchased a better for you brand. We have Tyson. This is the first time Tyson Foods has featured on Stacked. And you might be wondering, are we talking about competing with David? They're doing their own raw cod. No, this is Tyson has done something functional, and I think this is a far bigger story than they've made, and it appears. So Tyson Foods launched a product called high protein chicken nuggets. Now it's under a series called Simple Ingredients, with the whole theme being that it's a stripped down set of ingredients, and that you do get that. So the high protein chicken nuggets are very simple. It is cheese and chicken, and then you've got a few flavoring ingredients in there, but that's the core purpose. That's the theme, I guess, of the series: simple ingredients, fewer ingredients. But I think that undersells what this actually is. This simple ingredients approach, again, the name of the series, makes you think, okay, cool, like nuggets, but fewer ingredients. As I said originally, the official title is high protein chicken nuggets. And they have achieved two things that very few other people have ever been able to do. And that is put more protein into your chicken nugget per gram, and then lower the carbohydrates to practically nothing. The fat is high, so the calories don't come down with that lower carbs and higher protein, but it's the result is tremendous, and the value is insane. And it's the point that someone like Tyson Foods has decided to go and do protein with nuggets with 23 grams of protein per serving. So that's serving of 7 nuggets, so that's about, just under 3.7 grams of protein per piece. And then you've got, I think it was 18 grams of fat. I'll bring it up here. 200 calories, 260 calories, 18 grams of fat. So again, the protein to calorie ratio is on par with the likes of Anabar, even some of the higher traditional protein bars, Outright Bar. The carbohydrates are just a gram, which is very impressive. And I think the interesting part is that this is called the Simple Ingredients series. And I am betting the house on the fact that this is just the beginning. And you have to understand that if Tyson Foods does this, it sees reason to do this and make high protein a focus and make the effort to choose an ingredient that's simple but can also bring the carbs down to practically nothing. It's likely to influence others to think they could also achieve it. This has obviously been something that Real Good Foods has been doing for a while with various foods, not just chicken nuggets, but pizzas and poppers and all the stuff they've done over the years. But this is Tyson throwing its hat in the ring, a giant who I suspect doesn't usually draw outside the lines too often. And this is a realm that they've felt the need to do. And with create a whole series around, a whole look. There's 2 flavors to start. One's called Original. The other one is Spicy. Original's out now in Sam's Club, and it's an incredible price. Spicy will join it soon, but the price on this thing is $14.98 for one bag of 100 and... shit, what did I calculate? It's 15 nuggets. Yeah, 105 nuggets in total. 15 servings per bag. It's $1 a serving. You're basically paying $1 for a protein bar. And you know how much more delicious and fulfilling a handful of chicken nuggets is going to be versus a protein bar that can be ridiculously chewy sometimes. So I have to give my hats off to them. I reached out to them to see if there was maybe more that we could share on it, because I'm very intrigued as to where they're going with this. It dips right into the sports nutrition, health nutrition side of things. And it basically puts Tyson in a very different light. They have always done clean nutrition sources of protein with their chicken. Obviously, that's kind of where they're known. But now you can go to them as sort of a one-stop shop in terms of just a clean nutrition solution that's a lot more tastier. So that's where they bridge into this realm of sports nutrition. Like, if you can beat the value and the comfort and the taste of a protein bar, one serving, 23 protein, 260 calories, that is no easy feat. And they've done that. And I have to believe that there's more to come. I suspect it'll be interesting to see how this goes, where the series expands. So if they got 2 flavors again of the nuggets to start, and Sam's Club, and $15, it's a hard thing to turn down, at least to try once, and just to have on hand when you're feeling snacky and you just, damn good macros. And so you can check that out on the site. We've got a full breakdown of the product itself, where you can get it. Again, Spicy's not out yet, but it's coming. And yeah, that is it for this episode. Thank you for listening. As always, all we ask you do to support the site and everything we do here at Stacked is, if you're a brand, just go to the island. Show up, join us. It'll be great. Always visit the website if you're a consumer or a brand or industry individual. Check out the website every single day. Join the tens of thousands of people that visit that thing multiple times a day to make sure that they don't miss a story. And that's all we do. And so share with your mom, dad, brother, sister, friends, family, strangers if you want even. And thank you for listening. Look forward to having you back next time.